Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of World Talks here on TVP World. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee. Please join me and my guests on this next interview. U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin have agreed to a 30-day pause in attack on Ukraine's energy infrastructure, marking a potential step towards broader peace negotiations. While this limited ceasefire offers a glimmer of hope, critical issues remains unresolved, including the cessation of Western military aid to Ukraine and the exclusion of Ukraine from direct talks. Now, these developments have raised concerns in Kyiv about the potential implications for Ukraine's sovereignty and security. Joining us today on TVP World to provide insight into these complex dynamics is Mariia Ionova, a member of the Ukrainian parliament. As a prominent voice in Ukraine's political landscape, she offers a unique perspective on the challenges and opportunities ahead. Hello and welcome to TVP World.
Good morning and thank you for inviting me.
So first, can you help us understand how Ukraine is responding to this limited ceasefire agreement? We see Zelensky pretty much supporting the deal, but of course he's also mentioning wanting to talk to Donald Trump about it. Can you give us a little bit of insight on how the perception really is within Ukraine?
First of all, of course, we in Ukraine have been watching very closely the recent developments between Trump and Putin, Trump's administration and Putin, because it's not, the picture is much more wider, because it's not only about telephone call, it's also about the recent contacts of Special Representative Vitkov with Putin and his cronies. So we see different formal and informal contacts between the teams, and that's why I will probably split my answer for two directions, because of course we have big hopes, and so for this window of opportunity, if I can say, for peace process, because for our country it's really very important, and that is why anyway we see that Trump is trying and would like to solve and to get peace. But our position in Ukraine, can you hear me? Yes. Our position in Ukraine that the peace should be delivered through the strengths. And that is why we really see, and we would like that Trump's action force Putin really to end the war against Ukraine. But when you ask me about this telephone call, so this night all over Ukraine, I can say that we felt it, because we had a lot of air sirenes and again the attacking drones and on civilian also infrastructure. That is why of course probably that the road to even 30-day ceasefire would be, we realized that it would not be short and easy, because Putin is ready for any move on this road of peace only on his terms, and we can hear it from different his people stations. So which mean the concession of Ukraine, concessions of Europe, and also concessions of the US. So because we see, and I think the whole Europe see, that Putin's vision of peace is capitulation of Ukraine. Mm-hmm. This is his final goal, and also the capitulation of the West under the Trump's leadership. And that is why we hope, and we would like Trump's strong position when he has announced before, yes, that the ceasefire should be full, not partial, and immediate and anti-conditional. So, but unfortunately, after yesterday's telephone calls, we haven't seen it in reality.
All right, this is something that you actually find really interesting. I want to kind of delve on a little bit. You mentioned that Putin's perception of peace is pretty much the capitulation of Ukraine, the West, and even to some extent the United States. Do you think there's a point, there's a chance at some point perhaps Donald Trump and Putin were talking past each other, even though they use the same terminology, peace, they're actually talking about very different things, which resulted in perhaps initially Trump believing Putin to be in a very good will when it comes to this discussion, to later find out that, oops, things aren't as easy as it turns out to be.
I'll try to be diplomatic, but I can tell you that yesterday talks even about hockey. Unfortunately, it have been started yesterday. You know, all this or football or hockey, it doesn't matter. When Putin is on his same page, like no more military aid, no more Western intelligence in Ukraine, no more mobilization in Ukraine, no NATO to Ukraine, and he doesn't want to hear anything else. So he would like, yes, he's very happy that he's already on board, that he's again a big leader with whom the president of United States is talking to him, but I think that we really should talk with him only through the language of strength, because he doesn't understand any other language, and he would like, when he asks, and when Putin's aim is clear. So during this forthcoming 30-day partial ceasefire, we see that he just definitely would like to just rearm his Russian forces as much as possible, and to renew invasion not only against Ukraine in 30 days. So and it's absolutely clear. That is why when we hear also the talks or to weaken the sanctions and so on, so of course for him it's a good sign. But I think that for all the free country, for the West, it's a sign of a weakness, like for global. So that is why we think that Putin tries to buy the favor of President Trump with a promise of huge economic deals and potential benefits of aligning with Russia. So he really tries to convince Trump that Ukraine is nothing to the US if compared to the partnership with Russia. So it's really very dangerous. And in this regard, we really rely on the West, on our transatlantic unity. And I think that European leaders should be here in coordination. And that is why we are really looking forward, and we expect that Trump shares his position after the call with Ukrainian side, with Zelensky, with UK, with French leadership, to coordinate the further steps ahead of the talks, which we see there will be on the 23rd of March between USA and Russian teams. So it is really crucial to keep really close coordination of the process, under the leadership of President Trump, but sense of Trump leading the West in peace, not working alone. And that is why we insist that here should be the coordination with our European partners, UK, as we know how Putin's behavior, how he is a liar and she shouldn't be trusted. And, we also shouldn't allow to replace the terminology of the aggressor or of the responsibility, because we see how, also, how to say, I can't say that I like when I hear from Trump that Putin is a good guy and the conversation was good and so on.
Yeah,
okay,
perhaps
now
it's, even though it's negotiation tactic, that might kind of distort the perception of the whole thing, right?
You're absolutely right. But again, of course, this telephone call yesterday didn't produce a breakthrough. We see it. It's just the beginning. So that is why we really would like Trump to see that Russia is part of the problem and not a part of solution right now. So that is why this language through the strengths should be really very direct and strong. And it's not only, we understand that it's not only about Ukraine, it's about Iran, it's about Syria. But again, we do not want that. If we didn't want to discuss even if fail of Ukrainian side, so it's not the fail of Ukrainian side. We all really recall how to say we really would like to wish President Trump, to have a good and strengths in declining in dealing with Putin is his favorite word, to deal. For us, it's not a deal. For us, it's a fight, an existential war, and that is why we really our way is to fight and to fight, and that is why we really need more instruments to fight, because as we see Putin's again, my main message, Putin's goal is to destroy and to eliminate the West and to split the West. And that is why, in this regard, we really have to keep this transatlantic unity together to stop this evil in Ukraine. And we have this spirit of resilience and spirit to stop him and not to give up.
Thank you so much for your input and insight. Really appreciate it. Thanks for being with us on TVP
Thank
World.
you.
Cheers.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
And thank you for tuning into this edition of World Talks. Before more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.